The first time she erased me, it wasn't with a scream or a fight. It was with a sentence, said calmly like a weather update. My parents think you're a downgrade from my ex. I don't want to make them uncomfortable. I nodded, said, I understand. And in that moment, I understood everything. You don't realize you're a placeholder until the person you're holding the spot for decides to come back and sit down. For 2 years, I believed I was the man who saved her. The steady one. The man who showed up after chaos and rebuilt the wreckage. I thought that made me important, necessary, permanent. I was wrong. I wasn't her future. I was her recovery phase. I met Claire when her life was falling apart. Hey, everyone. Before we dive into the story, don't forget to subscribe and give this video a thumbs up if you want more content like this. Thanks! She was 27, drowning in debt, emotionally wrecked after a long, humiliating relationship with her ex, Lucas. Lucas was what she called electric. Everyone else called him unreliable. He borrowed money he never returned. He vanished for days. He cheated openly and apologized beautifully. And when he finally left her for a younger woman with a curated online life, Claire collapsed. That's when I showed up. I'm not electric. I'm stable. I work in data systems. I plan, I execute. I don't disappear. I don't gamble with rent money. I don't confuse chaos with passion. Claire said I felt safe. She said she could finally breathe. I helped her consolidate her debt. I paid most of the rent while she finished her certification. I fixed her credit score. I took care of the things that quietly ruin lives if no one steps in. I didn't think of it as sacrifice. I thought of it as partnership. But peace only feels good if you aren't addicted to turbulence. The shift was subtle at first. Once she got her promotion, once her confidence came back, her eyes started drifting. She'd comment on how predictable my schedule was, how my life ran on reminders and calendars. She missed spontaneity. Spontaneity is easy when someone else is paying the bills. Then came the wedding. Her sister's big event. Old money family. Country club energy. Appearances mattered. Claire was the maid of honor. I assumed I was part of the picture she wanted to present, proof she had grown up. I bought a tailored suit, took time off work, planned logistics down to the minute. 2 nights before the wedding, I tried the suit on, asked what she thought. She didn't smile. It's fine, she said. Very you. That should have been my warning. The next night, she sat me down like she was delivering bad news to an employee. Not a partner of 2 years. She talked about the guest list, about her parents, about comparisons. Then she said it. The word, downgrade. She explained it like it wasn't cruelty, like it was logic, like she was protecting me from being judged when in reality she was hiding me. I think it's better if I go alone, she finished. Just for the wedding. I didn't argue. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't beg. I said, I see. And I meant it. She left the next morning for the hotel near the venue. She kissed my cheek on the way out, relieved by my calm. She thought my silence meant compliance. It didn't. It meant calculation. I waited until the apartment was quiet. Then I packed. I didn't break anything. I didn't leave notes or accusations. I removed what I owned. Clothes, documents, devices, support systems. I unplugged the router, took the modem, logged out of the accounts. The apartment didn't look destroyed, but it stopped functioning. I left the key on the counter and checked into a hotel downtown. By the time the ceremony started, I was sitting alone with a glass of water, watching city lights through a window that didn't judge me. That's when my phone rang. Her father. His voice was tight, confused. He asked if I was okay, asked why I wasn't at the hospital. The hospital? I asked. Claire had told them I collapsed, that I was sick, that she came to the wedding anyway because I insisted she not ruin her sister's day. She didn't just erase me. She used me as a prop in a lie. When he asked why Lucas was sitting in my seat at the reception, the last piece clicked into place. I wasn't uninvited to protect feelings. I was removed to make room. I told him the truth, calmly, every word measured. I didn't need to dramatize it. Reality did the damage for me. The line went quiet. I ended the call with something polite, something final. Then I turned my phone off. I slept better that night than I had in months. The next day, I didn't reach out. I went for a run, ate alone, thought clearly. On Monday morning, when I turned my phone back on, it exploded with missed calls and messages, anger, accusations, panic, then desperation. I didn't reply. At 5:40 p.m., I saw her waiting by my car in the parking garage. She looked smaller than I remembered. And for the first time, I realized something important. She wasn't afraid of losing me. She was afraid of losing what I provided. I stopped 10 feet away and didn't unlock the door. "What do you want?" I asked. She opened her mouth to speak. That's where part one ends, because what happened next wasn't emotional. It was structural. I thought the silence would last longer. I was wrong. By Monday morning, my name was already moving through her family like a bad rumor that refused to die. I was halfway through my first meeting at work when my phone started vibrating nonstop on the desk. I didn't even look at it at first. Old habits die hard, the reflex to drop everything when Sarah needed something. I let it buzz, then again, and again. Finally, my manager cleared his throat. "Everything okay, Mark?" I flipped the phone over. 6 missed calls, 3 from Sarah, 2 from Emily, 1 from an unknown number. I silenced it and nodded. Yeah, all good. It wasn't all good. It was unraveling. At lunch, curiosity won. I stepped outside, leaned against the brick wall behind the building, and checked the voicemails. Emily's came first. "Mark, I don't even know how to say this. Dad is furious. Like furious. Mom's crying. Sarah's locked herself in her apartment and won't answer anyone. I don't know what she told you, but whatever it wasn't true. Please call my dad." I deleted it. Then I listened to Robert's voicemail. His voice sounded older than I. Remembered. Thinner. Like a man who'd just realized he raised a stranger. "Mark, I owe you an apology. I don't know how my daughter became someone who could lie the way she did. We're at the aftermath right now, and it's ugly. I won't go into details over voicemail, but I need you to know this. You were never a downgrade. You were the best thing that ever happened to her. And she just burned it down in front of everyone. I stood there longer than necessary. Phone pressed to my ear, the city noise washing over me. That was the first crack. The second came that evening. I was packing the last of my clothes at the hotel when I heard a knock. Not a polite one. A sharp, urgent knock, the kind that assumes it deserves an answer. I opened the door. Sarah's mother stood there, eyes red, lipstick smeared, clutching her purse like it was a weapon. Behind her, Sarah sat on the hallway carpet, knees pulled to her chest, mascara streaked down her face. She looked small, not fragile, exposed. "Mark," her mother said, stepping inside without asking. "We need to talk." Sarah didn't look at me. I closed the door calmly. "This isn't a good time," I said. Her mother laughed, a brittle, humorless sound. "Oh, it's the perfect time. You humiliated my daughter." I tilted my head. "No, I told the truth when someone asked." She opened her mouth to argue, then stopped. "Because she knew. I didn't raise her to behave like this," she said, quieter now. "But you didn't have to destroy her life over one mistake." "One mistake?" I repeated. Sarah flinched. I looked down at her. "You told me I was a downgrade so you could parade your ex in front of your family. You told your father I was in the hospital. You let him sit in my seat, eat my food, and smile at people who thought he was replacing me." Her mother's face drained of color. "Is that true?" she whispered. Sarah finally looked up. Her voice cracked. "I panicked." That word again. I nodded slowly. "You always do." Her mother sank into the chair. "Mark, we didn't know." Robert tried to have Todd removed. Security was called. Emily was crying. The groom's family was asking questions. People were whispering. Public humiliation doesn't announce itself. It spreads. "I don't want apologies," I said. "I want distance." Her mother stood. "Then what are you going to do? Leave her ruined?" I met her eyes. "No, I'm leaving her accountable." That night, Sarah posted. Not a long post, just a vague one. Sometimes the people who promise stability are the first to abandon you when you need them most. Within an hour, comments flooded in. Supportive ones, angry ones, friends who didn't know the truth choosing sides. By morning, someone else had posted. Emily. She didn't name names. She didn't need to. Watching someone lie so easily made me realize how dangerous charm without character can be. Weddings reveal people. The comments turned. By noon, Sarah's boss called her into HR. Apparently, Todd had been introduced at the wedding as an investor friend. Apparently, someone from the groom's family worked in compliance. Apparently, exaggerating credentials in public spaces had consequences. That was when Sarah called me. Not crying, not angry, terrified. "They put me on leave," she whispered. "They're reviewing everything. My resume, my references. Mark, you helped me with that stuff." You know I didn't lie, not intentionally. I leaned back against the hotel bed. "Did you list Todd as a business contact?" I asked. Silence. "Sarah?" "Yes." "And was he employed at the time?" "No." "And did you know that?" "Yes." I closed my eyes. "That's fraud," I said softly. Her breath hitched. "They're asking about the lease," she continued rapidly. "The utilities are still in your name. The car payment, the refinance. Mark, I can't do this alone." There it was. Not love. Infrastructure. "I warned you," I said. "When you said I was a downgrade, I removed myself from the system." "You're punishing me," she sobbed. "No," I said. "I'm letting reality finish the job." By the end of the week, her parents froze their financial support. HR launched a formal investigation. The landlord called about missed payments. Todd disappeared again. And me? I signed a new lease, alone, quiet, stable. The funny thing about being called boring is this. Boring people survive when the spotlight fades, and the spotlight was finally burning her. I didn't walk into the courthouse like a hero. I walked in like a man attending a funeral, calm, controlled, already knowing who would be buried. Her text came at 9:02 a.m. "Can we talk?" I didn't reply, because 10 minutes later the world started talking about her. The hearing was public. She knew that. She'd laughed. "About it once," said public scrutiny, "was for desperate people with nothing to..." Oh, she sat 3 rows ahead of me now. Spine straight, chin high, wearing that same confident mask she'd worn. The night she destroyed me in front of everyone. Back then, she'd held the microphone like a weapon. "This man," she'd said, smiling sweetly, "is not who you think he is." Lies dressed as concern. Betrayal packaged as honesty. The memory burned, but I didn't flinch. Because this time I had the microphone. The judge called the case. Her lawyer stood, smug, rehearsed. He argued technicalities, contracts, intent. He spoke like truth was flexible. Then my lawyer stood, and the air changed. "Your Honor," she said, sliding a folder across the desk, "we'd like to submit Exhibit A through L." That's how many ways she'd destroyed herself. Screens lit up around the courtroom, financial records, email chains, recorded calls. The judge's face hardened with every page. Whispers spread through the audience like wildfire. I watched her hands start to shake. The first blow landed clean. Shell companies, forged signatures, funds rerouted through accounts she swore she didn't control. Her lawyer tried to object. Too late. Then came the recording. Her voice filled the room, laughing, mocking. "He'll never recover," she said in it. "I made sure everyone saw him fall." A sound escaped her throat. Half gasp, half prayer. People turned. Phones came out. Screens recorded every crack in her armor. This wasn't just legal anymore. This was public reckoning. Her lawyer leaned in, whispering urgently. She shook her head like denial could undo months of arrogance. Then the judge asked the question that ended everything. "Did you knowingly present false statements to discredit the plaintiff in a public forum?" Silence. Every second stretched. Her voice broke. "I didn't think..." The judge raised a hand. "Answer the question." "Yes." One word. That's all it took. The ruling wasn't final, but the damage was irreversible. Fraud investigation opened. Assets frozen. Professional licenses suspended pending review. By lunchtime, her name was trending. Not sympathy. Not curiosity. Judgment. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarmed her. Cameras flashed. Microphones shoved forward. "Did you manipulate public opinion to ruin him? Did you profit from the betrayal? Do you regret it?" She looked around like a trapped animal. Then she saw me, standing there, quiet, unsmiling. She pushed through the crowd. "I didn't mean for it to go this far," she said, voice cracking. "Please, say something. Tell them it wasn't..." I leaned in just enough for her to hear. "You wanted the public," I said calmly. "Now live with it." Her knees buckled. That afternoon, sponsors dropped her. Clients canceled contracts. Partners distanced themselves like she carried a disease. The empire she'd built on charm and cruelty collapsed in real time. But the real moment, the one that mattered, came that evening. A live stream? She'd scheduled it herself. Damage control, they called it. Millions watched. She sat alone in front of the camera. No makeup, no filters, no entourage. "I owe someone an apology," she said. My name hung in the air like a confession. I betrayed someone who trusted me. I used lies to elevate myself, and today I paid the price. Tears fell, but not the dramatic kind. These were ugly, uncontrolled. "I'm sorry," she whispered. Not because I was caught. Because I was wrong for the first time. She meant it. I turned the screen off. Because justice doesn't require applause. It requires truth. And peace doesn't come from watching someone suffer. It comes from knowing they can never hurt you again. Silence feels different when it's earned. For weeks after the trial, I kept expecting something. Another message. Another scandal, another shoe to drop. Trauma trains you to wait for impact. Even when the war ends, your body doesn't believe it. But nothing came. Her world stayed quiet. Too quiet. The investigation moved forward without me needing to lift a finger. Charges formalized. Settlements negotiated. Her legal team stopped posturing and started surviving. I was no longer the center of the storm. I was just the reason it existed. One morning, I woke up and realized something unsettling. I wasn't angry anymore. That scared me more than rage ever did. I took a walk through the city. Gray sky, cold air. The kind of European morning that smells like wet stone and coffee. People passed me without recognition. No whispers. No cameras. Just strangers living their lives. That's when it hit me. I got my anonymity back. The company reinstated my position, not out of pity, but necessity. The board meeting was short. Apologies were awkward. Accountability was formal. I accepted all of it without satisfaction or resentment. Because winning doesn't always feel like triumph. Sometimes it feels like relief. A week later, I received a letter. Handwritten. No return address. I knew it was from her before I opened it. She didn't beg. She didn't justify. She didn't rewrite history. She owned it. She wrote about therapy, about sitting alone in an apartment stripped of luxury, about losing people she thought were loyal, about realizing too late that power without integrity is just a delayed sentence. One line stayed with me. I thought destroying you would make me untouchable. Instead, it showed me exactly who I was. At the end, she didn't ask for forgiveness. She asked for closure. I didn't reply. Not because I was cruel, but because closure is not something you give. It's something you arrive at. Months passed. The case concluded quietly. Assets redistributed, statements finalized. Her public image faded into cautionary footnote. Territory, the kind influencers pretend never existed. I started speaking, not about revenge, but about truth. At universities, at legal forums, about how public humiliation works, how lies spread faster than facts, how men can be victims too, and how silence nearly killed me. People listened, not because I was loud, but because I was honest. One evening after a talk, a young woman approached me, nervous, eyes red. "I did something terrible to someone," she said. "And watching your story, it made me stop before it was too late." That's when I understood something crucial. Justice isn't always about punishment. Sometimes it's about interruption. Stopping the cycle before it claims someone else. On the anniversary of the day she humiliated me publicly, I did something symbolic. I returned to the same venue. Same room, same stage. This time I stood alone at the microphone. "I was broken here," I said. "But I rebuilt myself without becoming what hurt me. No applause, no drama, just truth." Afterward, as I stepped outside, I saw her, across the street. Not approaching. Not hiding, just standing there. Older, quieter, smaller. Our eyes met. No hatred, no triumph, no regret. She nodded once. I nodded back. That was it. No words were needed. Because forgiveness doesn't always look like reconciliation. Sometimes it looks like mutual recognition of damage and choosing not to add more. I went home that night and slept without dreams. For the first time in years. The next morning, sunlight poured through the window, and I felt something unfamiliar settle into my chest. Peace. Not the fragile kind that depends on outcomes. The solid kind that comes after you survive the worst version of someone you loved and still choose to remain yourself. I wasn't a hero because I destroyed her. I was a hero because I didn't let her turn me into her. And that was the real victory. I'd love to hear what you think about this story. Comment below.